Many postpartum exercise programs include double leg lifts, claiming that they are effective in reducing the postpartum mummy pooch, flattening the stomach, and healing diastasis recti. But as a physiotherapist, I can tell you this type of exercise can actually make diastasis recti worse, and it can lead to pelvic floor dysfunction such as prolapse, where one or more of your pelvic organs descends into the vagina. Here's why this exercise isn't something I'd recommend. During pregnancy and childbirth, your core muscles, and particularly the Linea Alba, the connective tissue that joins the two sides of your rectus abdominis muscle, have been significantly stretched. For nearly half of all women, this area remains stretched and weakened even after 8 weeks postpartum, a condition known as diastasis recti abdominis. When you perform a double leg lift, this exercise exerts excessive pressure on your already weakened abdominal wall and pelvic floor muscles. Such pressure can potentially aggravate the separation, impede the healing process, and even increase weakness, leading to issues like pelvic organ prolapse. Before we go any further, let's talk about what a double leg lift exercise is. Basically, it's any exercise where you lift both legs off the ground at the same time. Things like double leg stretch, boat pose, V sit-up, knee floats are all classified as double leg lifts. Moreover, double leg lifts aren't just highly advanced. They're not reflective of the functional movements you need as a new mum. Think about it. There's hardly a moment in your daily routine where you need to lift both legs off the ground simultaneously. Instead, your day-to-day activities like caring for your new baby involve that asymmetrical movements, much like picking up your baby out of the cot or off the floor. Let's now go through 4 core exercises that work your entire core without involving 2 legs being off the ground at the same time and are more aligned with the functional movements you perform as a new mum. One note to add here is that these are considered more advanced exercises that involve your entire core and increase intra-abdominal pressure. For this reason, I don't recommend doing these until at least 12 weeks after giving birth and only after you've been cleared by a healthcare professional as having a functional diastasis recti. So starting off on all fours, you want to make sure that your wrists are directly under shoulders, knees under hips, and you want to be active through those feet. Bear hovers is a great exercise as the legs are in closer to your body rather than a plank. So if the lever is shorter, then there's a decrease in intra-abdominal pressure that's needed. So we're going to take that breath in. Exhale, just check in, squeeze and lift through the pelvic floor, wrapping from pubic bone to the rib cage. And then exhale, we're going to float those legs up. Inhale as we prepare, then exhale, we're going to float that right leg out. And then coming back to center. So it's a great way to challenge the core without having both feet off the ground at the same time, but you're still getting a really good core workout and a lot of stability needed through the trunk and the pelvis. And really use that exhale as you extend. Inhale, float. Exhale, extend. So you can either alternate side to side or you can stay on that one leg as you open and close. So the main thing is you don't want to hold your breath to movement, because if you're holding your breath, then you're increasing that intra-abdominal pressure rather than controlling it. The next one is full side planks. So coming down onto your side. With side planks, you have 2 options. You can either do a straight arm, which requires a lot of shoulder stability as well as core control, or onto your elbow, which actually focuses less on the shoulder and more on the core. I find a lot of postnatal women get a lot of wrist issues, so going down on the elbow is a better alternative. So going into a full side plank, plenty of options here. Bend the bottom leg, it's completely up to you. That just gives you an increased base of support. So by popping your feet directly on top of one another, inhale at the bottom, always exhale, just connect before you go, and then inhale coming up into that side plank position. So you want to see a nice straight line that you're not dropping those hips towards the floor. And then to add in that extra challenge, you have 2 options. So you can either add in the hip abduction, which really focuses on that pelvic control. And again, it's that exhale float, inhale lower,
Or your second option is to add in a nice rotation. So this really works well on getting the thorax to move independently of the pelvis. So it's an extra challenge for those obliques, which you really need in that postpartum period, because you'll be carrying your little one and you'll need to resist that tendency to want to dip into the hip or dip into the side of the trunk. You're looking at trying to do anywhere from 10 to 15 reps 3 times through on each side. So with a half kneel and rotation, you can either use a weight or no weights at all, whatever your abdominal wall can handle at that point in your rehab. So coming up into a half kneel position, this is a great exercise because as mums, you are always in that half kneel position, picking things up off the ground, playing with your little one. So it is a really functional core movement. Also, by adding in this nice rotation of the thorax, you get the obliques working concentrically and eccentrically. So it's a big challenge on the core. So starting off in that half kneel, I like to come back to the full kneel. Really think of growing tall through the crown of the head, connecting with the pelvic floor and zippering up from pubic bone to rib cage as we come forward into that half kneel position. So from there, we're going to reach the arms long out in front. I've just got a 2 kilo dumbbell, so you can use 1 kilo, you can use half a kilo, or again, you can use no weight at all. So from this position, we're just going to pivot the weight onto the back leg, and then from there, we're going to exhale as we rotate, inhale back to center, and then exhale, rotate. So we're going to stay in that position. So again, it's nice to get that thorax moving independent of the pelvis. And basically you don't want to feel that weight shift away from that back leg. So you want to kind of try and complete 8 to 10 reps on either side, and then always remembering to do with the opposite leg forward. So again, resetting, pelvic floor connected, wrapping from pubic bone to rib cage as we come forward. Extend the arm out in front, shift that weight to the back leg, inhale, prepare, and then exhale. Keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. And not letting that weight transfer away from that back leg. And then always floating back to center. The next exercise is a squat. It's a functional movement that you'll use throughout your entire life. It's a great body workout where you get the big muscles of the legs working, the core, and then you can grab some weights to incorporate arm strength as well. So starting out with your feet slightly wider than hips, turn out with the feet, check in with that deep system. So breathing in, exhale, squeeze and lift through the pelvic floor as you zipper up from pubic bone to rib cage, and we're coming into the squat position. So feel those sit bones reach back. Make sure that the abdominals aren't just hanging out. We still want to think about that nice wrap below the belly button, and then we can add in some arm movement. So a great way, going into flies is a great way to try and strengthen up the arms, and then to add in a bit more functionality, you can add in some single arm floats, where you're trying to resist that rotation through the thorax. And then another great one is going to some tricep extensions, again keeping the arms strong so you can carry your little one, as well as strengthening the back extensors that can get really weak through pregnancy. If you're not ready for these types of advanced exercises and you're looking to build that initial foundation first, I do have an exercise program designed for new mums that you might want to check out. It's a safe, progressive rehab program that's designed for 6 weeks postpartum and onwards, and I'll link that down here and in the description as well.